Rakeyan Panaraban, also known as Tamperan, was born into the noble bloodline of the Sunda kingdom during a time of transition and consolidation. He was the son of the illustrious King Sanjaya Dharma and the grandson of King Tarusbawa, making him a vital link in the unification of the Sundanese and Javanese royal lineages. His mother, Queen Tejakan, was a deeply spiritual woman, known for her devotion to both Shivaist rituals and the welfare of her people. From an early age, Tamperan was surrounded by scholars, warriors, and spiritual guides who nurtured his growth into a wise and capable heir. As a young prince, Tamperan showed remarkable intelligence and a thirst for knowledge. He was trained rigorously in statecraft, diplomacy, martial arts, and sacred Hindu texts. His upbringing combined both Sundanese traditions and the increasingly influential Javanese customs that shaped his worldview. His education was not only academic and spiritual, but also rooted in empathy and leadership, preparing him to one day rule a kingdom shaped by both lineage and merit. Legends of his childhood speak of strange dreams and visions he experienced, interpreted by the palace priests as signs of a divine destiny. Some accounts say he could sense danger before it arrived, and that animals in the royal gardens behaved calmly in his presence. Whether myth or truth, these tales spread among the people, strengthening their faith in his future as a king of great insight and divine favor. Even during his youth, Tamperan often accompanied his father on official visits and state duties. Sanjaya, while still focused on strengthening the Mataram kingdom, took time to personally mentor his son. These early exposures to governance, conflict resolution, and temple-building efforts laid the foundation for Tamperan's eventual reign. His bond with the people began here, forged through first-hand encounters with their needs and concerns. As Sanjaya aged and turned increasingly toward spiritual life, Tamperan took on more administrative responsibilities. He managed provincial affairs, negotiated with vassals, and oversaw temple renovations and irrigation projects that expanded the kingdom's prosperity. His presence brought reassurance to nobles and commoners alike. With a calming presence and natural charisma, Tamperan earned the respect of his court. Though Sanjaya was not hasty in relinquishing power, he recognized his son's readiness to rule. With the council of sages and the agreement of royal advisors, Sanjaya initiated a formal ceremony to name Tamperan as his successor. The event, held at the sacred Mount Merapi temple complex, was rich in symbolism, marking the handover of both temporal power and spiritual duty. Upon assuming the throne, Tamperan adopted the formal regnal name Rakeyan Panaraban, symbolizing his new role as the unifier of hearts and minds across the kingdom. He vowed to uphold Dharma, protect the weak, and continue the religious harmony his father had nurtured. His early reign was marked by calm transitions and the continuation of stable policies. Still, Tamperan did not rule in his father's shadow. He soon began to leave his own imprint, introducing reforms that improved administrative efficiency and court transparency. His ability to listen to different factions and forge consensus allowed him to maintain internal peace while preparing for greater external challenges. His palace became a place where voices from the most distant regions could be heard. Tamperan's reign was not without turbulence. Early into his kingship, tensions began to rise among rival noble families and regional governors who feared losing autonomy. These lords, while respectful of the crown, had grown powerful and sought to test the young ruler's resolve. Instead of responding with force, Tamperan relied on diplomacy. He summoned the disputing nobles to a sacred gathering at a neutral site, a temple in the forested highlands, and facilitated a council rooted in ancient dharmic principles. After days of fasting, meditation, and open dialogue, peace was restored, and a renewed alliance was forged. External threats soon emerged. Coastal raiders from the east, emboldened by the perceived youth of the new king, began plundering outposts. Tamperan mobilized the Royal Navy and personally led an expedition to repel the invaders. His victory at the mouth of the Brantus River became legendary, not only for its tactical brilliance but for the fact that he spared the lives of surrendered enemies, earning their loyalty. These acts solidified his position, both militarily and morally. The people of Mataram and Sunda hailed him as a rightful successor, who balanced the sword with wisdom. He commissioned new fortresses and maritime checkpoints, ensuring that future incursions would be met with swift resistance. His leadership brought stability, enabling the flourishing of trade and culture. Tamperan's reign deepened in spiritual meaning as he began constructing a vast temple complex dedicated to Shiva, Vishnu, and local guardian deities. This symbolized his commitment to a united spiritual front that honored both high Hinduism and regional beliefs. He summoned mystics and architects from distant lands to help shape the project. resulting in architectural designs that blended native and Indian elements. The temple, known as Rakeyan Panaraban, was a marvel of its time, drawing pilgrims from across the archipelago. It also served as a center of learning, housing scribes, priests, and astronomers. Festivals and scholarly gatherings at Rakeyan Panaraban became landmarks of his cultural legacy. Tamperan was said to have entered deep states of meditation, during which he received divine visions. Advisors often remarked on his uncanny timing and intuitive sense for both natural and political events. Some believed he possessed the sacred siddhi of foresight, a gift said to only be granted to those in true alignment with Dharma. He used this insight to pass laws promoting land redistribution, equitable taxation, and environmental preservation. His reign became known as an age of balance, where wealth, wisdom, and worship were shared broadly among the people. To maintain this golden balance, Tamperan established a council of spiritual and military guardians. This body, called the Dharma Putra Sabha, advised the king on matters of state, war, and cosmic order. Comprising yogis, generals, philosophers, and tribal elders, the council was unprecedented in its diversity. Their influence helped Tamperan govern more inclusively, integrating tribal regions and far-flung communities into the heart of Mataram's administration. He appointed regional governors from local bloodlines, fostering loyalty without sacrificing centralized control. These leaders were required to study Dharmic law and swear oaths at Panaraban Temple. A particularly dramatic moment came when a great flood threatened a major trade city. Tamperan, guided by visions and ancient engineering principles, redirected waters through a series of sacred canals. The feat saved thousands and transformed the disaster into a miracle. People saw this as divine confirmation of his kingship. Songs and poems praised his leadership, comparing him to Ramayana heroes and proclaiming his wisdom as rivaling the sages of old. Festivals were held annually to honor the day he saved the city. His rule became an ideal remembered long after his time. Despite his success, whispers of unrest began to circulate in the latter years of Tamperan's rule. A faction within the court, jealous of his growing divine stature and the influence of his spiritual advisors, began to plot in secrecy. Tamperan, aware of the brewing dissent, chose a path of patient observation. He believed that forcing harmony would only deepen resentment. Instead, he increased transparency in governance and encouraged open forums where grievances could be voiced. Still, one particularly powerful nobleman, Balaputra, a distant relative from the Srivijayan lineage, began amassing followers and spreading discontent. Tamperan tried to reconcile with him, offering marriage alliances and land grants, but the tension escalated. Eventually, Balaputra attempted a coup. Though it was swiftly quelled, it marked the end of Mataram's unbroken harmony. Tamperan, shaken but resolute, began to plan for the succession, realizing that no reign, however golden, could last forever. He sought peace through wisdom, even as he prepared the realm for future challenges. Tamperan's son, Rakeyan, had been raised in the tradition of both warrior and sage. Seeing in him the fire of leadership and the patience of wisdom, Tamperan began transferring power gradually. He appointed him as a co-ruler, overseeing daily affairs while he withdrew into spiritual practice. The succession was marked by grand ceremonies and festivals, uniting nobles and commoners in celebration. Unlike previous transitions, this one included public participation, where voices from every caste bore witness to the ritual of passage. Tamperan spent his twilight years in the hills of Kedu, where he founded a meditation school and trained disciples in the art of Dharma-based governance. His wisdom lived on through them, shaping future generations of leaders. Though retired, his counsel was still sought by kings and commoners alike. He became a wandering sage, his name evolving from a royal title to a symbol of living Dharma. His legacy grew even stronger in peace than it had in power. King Tamperan passed away in silence, deep in meditation beneath an ancient Bodhi tree. No funeral pyre was lit, his body vanished into light, leaving only the scent of sandalwood and the echo of mantras in the air. Shrines were erected where he last taught, and festivals honoring his wisdom became central to the Sundanese and Javanese calendar. His teachings were compiled into scrolls known as the Tamperan Sutras, which combined political philosophy, ethics, and mystical insights. His legacy became a template for leadership that emphasized humility, justice, and connection with the divine. Kings across the archipelago would later model themselves after Tamperan, invoking his name in oaths of kingship. Though centuries have passed, the legend of Rakeyan Panaraban lives on, in stone, song, and spirit. His reign is remembered not just for its power, but for the light it brought to those who walked beneath his rule.